Hey guys, so if you saw some of my old videos, I did a comparison between my Polaris and a Vanderhall I had rented a few months back towards the tail end of 2018. I love the Vanderhall so much, which if you watch that video, you could probably tell I was so biased towards it in comparison to the Polaris that I have. So first week of January, I went and I bought this baby and I was so excited because I absolutely just love this car. I was finally able to get it listed on Turo, which was sort of a huge battle that I went through that I've never ever experienced before. So it's really interesting because of course I rented this off of Turo originally, so I knew obviously you can list these on Turo, and prior to buying this car I did kind of go through the process of putting this up as a listing and just making sure that everything looked right and kind of practicing on how I would have my listing. But when I finally got the deal done for the car, I went to Turo to go list the car before I actually even picked it up, but I had already gone through financing and all the paperwork and everything. And I realized when I went to go list it that the Vanderhall make and model was entirely missing from the list of cars that was available on Turo. Along with a lot of other cars actually too, I noticed a lot of their high-end cars were missing, like Ferrari, Lamborghini, Rolls-Royce. You know, a lot of the ones that used to be there were no longer there for whatever reason. So it was about a month and a half long battle with them to try and get it listed. I had to reach out to support, God, at least I would say maybe 30 times before someone was able to help me and actually get the vehicle listed. So I had the car for at least a month prior to it being listed on the platform. So it was a month that I got to enjoy it, but also a month's worth of car payments that had to come out of my pocket. So that was fun. But I kind of was okay with that because this was the one car of all the cars that I've ever had that I do not want to rent out because I just love driving it so much. So on that note, a good tip for you guys, if you're looking to list a car on Turo, especially if it's a little bit out of the ordinary, before you list it, you definitely want to go and see if that make and model is available. Now, why some of their makes and models are missing, I have no idea. I don't know if it's because they're trying to only have certain types of cars on the platform. When I spoke to them, they told me that they switched over to a new database vendor, and so that's why a lot of cars were missing. But that just kind of seems really odd to me. You know, if you're a marketplace that is encouraging people to list their cars, but you're missing a bunch of cars and makes and models and years, it's a little bit odd. I also, first day of January, I bought a 2019 E450 Mercedes-Benz to list on the platform. I mean, it's a Mercedes, so I just did not anticipate having any issues listing that car. But funny enough, when I went to go list it, there was no option for that particular model and that year. So now we're in end of February, and just last week they were able to update the year on my Mercedes-Benz and the model, but funny enough, the model that they updated it with, provided with the VIN number that I gave them, was the wrong model. So they still don't have that exact model available in their database. I have no idea why that would be, or why you'd go with a vendor that would cause that type of issue when this is your main business. But anyways, so the point is, check and make sure that your make and model is available. If not, get with support and just make sure that they're going to be able to do this for you, because you don't want to get stuck with a car and have car payments that you're not prepared to make, because that would just be terrible. On that note, I'll show you guys a quick walkthrough of the Vanderhall. If you're thinking about renting it, it is available for rent on my profile. I'll put that link below, and can't promise you that it'll always be available because I just love this car so much. I think I'll probably have to get another one that I can rent out and this one that I can keep for myself. So we'll see what happens. So just a few things that I've discovered in about the month and a half that I've been driving it around town is one, getting in the car. So if you've driven some of the Polarises, or if you've rented it from me before, you know that the Polarises are pretty sturdy. You can kind of just hop in and out of it, and because everything is sort of made out of like plastic or metal, you know, you're really not going to hurt any part of the car. But this car I find to be a little bit more fragile. So for example, when you get in the car, people's tendency is to hold on to this glass and then get in. But on the Vanderhall, you cannot do that because it'll actually break the glass. So what you really have to do is hold this roll bar and then step into the car kind of just like this. So it's pretty nice and easy. The inside is for sure a snug fit. So if you're a bigger person, if you're taller, I mean, I would say if you're any taller than 6 foot, I mean, it's gonna be a tight squeeze because I'm about 5'2", and I would say I'm pretty petite, and I'm already taking up this whole seat. And so if you have a passenger next to you, it's gonna be a tight fit. My favorite thing about this car is definitely the steering wheel. And I think that's what I love about this car, is that it's something, when you drive it, it feels new, but it looks old, and it's just this weird mixture of old and new. And so it makes you feel really good when you drive it. I don't know, I love it. Like, I run all my errands in this car. I'll go grocery shopping, I'll go to the bank, I'll go do whatever it is I have to do, especially on a nice day like this. It's 65 degrees outside right now, but the sun is shining and it feels perfect. The nice thing about these cars in comparison to the Polaris is that these have seat warmers that get really hot, so you'll definitely toast your buns, and it also has built-in heaters. So on a cooler day or when you're driving around, those things definitely help. Has a really good Bluetooth system, but no radio or anything like that. A few other tips, let me just hop over here so I can show you guys, is these seat belts are a little bit oddly placed, right? So they kind of like come through the seat, and if you're 2 people, they kind of get stuck and they get crisscrossed a lot of the times. And so one of the things you have to be careful with is when you're bringing this across, it can get stuck on the brake right here. And before you know it, when you're driving, it'll lift the brake, or you'll be driving with the brake up. So it's just something that you want to watch out for. And aside from that, right here too, this is made out of leather, and if you look on this side right here, you can see that it's already been kind of damaged. And that's with me being super careful. So, you know, it's a little bit of a sensitive car in terms of how aggressive you can be with it. So, you know, especially if you want to take good care of it, you do have to watch out for these little minor things like that. Now, much like the Polarises, the Vanderhall does have storage in the back. It's really small. It's a compartment like this big. My purse pretty much fits into it, but it has no locking mechanism like the Polaris does. And as you can see, these seats are also sticky, and these seatbelts get stuck if you try to push the seats forward. So those are some things that don't function as smoothly, but there's a storage compartment right here. It's quite small and it doesn't lock, so you definitely don't want to leave any valuables there. But aside from that, you know, if you're thinking about renting this car, it is such a fun experience. I mean, out of all my cars, if you're looking for an experience, especially here in Southern California, this is the car to go with. Oh, and don't make the mistake of leaning on this, because this is super soft fiberglass, so you'll put a dent in it, so don't do that. But it's front wheel drive, it's so fun, it's turbocharged, and it sounds amazing. So to end this video, I'll go ahead and start the car for you guys, just so you can see what it